tell me about no separation of church and state. State is the body, church is the heart. You take the heart out of the body dies. I can't separate my belief because I'm an elected official. When I walk with God. When I talk with God. When I put policies in place, I put them in with a God-like approach to them. That's who I am.
The Interfaith Breakfast in New York featured Mayor Eric Adams, and apparently he's against the separation of church and state. Yes, Democratic Mayor Eric Adams. I guess he got wrapped up in the whole event since they were talking about Christianity and their faith. But he was talking about how he can't separate it from his policy making, his decision making as he goes into things. So I guess everyone that's not a Christian or doesn't believe in those things that he's talking about, it's just a big FU to them. In fact, he went further. He was talking about something even more specific when it comes to how he wants to approach the way he governs. Watch.
If we are bringing our best fight in the ring, we would not have homeless in this city. We would not have a crisis of domestic violence. We would not have children, because when we took prayers out of schools, guns came into schools.
Wait, say what? Well, he said we got to bring the best fight, or else then we could end homelessness. We could have these other issues can be fixed. But then when we took prayer out of schools, guns came into schools. I mean, it's a direct relation to each other. It's undeniable. In fact, you guys, in case you guys don't know, mandated Christian prayer was removed from public schools in 1962. I didn't know it was that long ago. But since then, apparently guns don't show up in the schools. They were in schools all before that. Then afterwards is when it happened. By the way, by that same logic, since something ended in 1962 and then the result being school shootings must have been the case, there's other things that ended in 1962. Sales of cigarettes per adult per day. School prayer ended in 1962, and the number of sales of cigarettes dropped off significantly. It must be because of the ending of prayer in schools. There's more. There's more. Also, in 1962, when school prayer ended, polio cases dropped off. It's an amazing thing what happens once you don't pray in school anymore. One more though. Because child labor incidences, they dropped off severely after 1962. Ending prayer in school apparently has some good effects, but the bad one apparently is that guns came in. None of it makes any sense, but it doesn't have to, because the point is to promote your religion and not to speak on anything logically. The next question I would assume, Jeff, anyone should have for Eric Adams is, so what policies or how are you gonna go about re-implementing school prayer in schools? Because obviously no one wants children murdered in school like we keep seeing. So obviously the answer is to go back to mandated school prayer. I'm not sure.
Yeah, he needs to break from the Constitution and mandate prayer back in schools as a policy in order to deter gun crime in schools is the thing. Why is the interfaith meeting inviting him in the first place? And I can't really say anything, because in the greater Columbus area, there was the MLK breakfast a couple of weeks ago, and they invited JD Vance. So like, I can't really make fun of them for that. I would imagine what we did here was worse than what they did in New York. But there's no reason for him to be there. Why are you there? Like, don't invite him to say things at all. But maybe I'm silencing him. That might be a theme of the show.
It's a good question. It's the only thing that I wonder is that he must always espouse these types of views to talk about how he's a big Christian, a super Christian, goes to church every Sunday and Wednesday and Bible study, and then also, choir rehearsal. I don't know, but he must show off his Christian, credentials a lot enough for them to want him there. And then once you're there, you have to show it off some more. It's similar to the National Prayer Breakfast, where politicians show up there to make sure people think that they're the most moral, above the fray type of folks. So that they can get reelected. It has nothing to do with the reality of the situation. We see policies and we see the way these folks act and talk all the time. But I have one last question about this, and maybe someone should ask Eric Adams this as well. So if we're mandating that prayer in school, are we going to allow Islamic prayer? Are we gonna allow kids, staff, teachers, principals, whoever it is that happens to be Muslim, to then break out the prayer rugs and do it there too? Because he said prayer, he said separation of church and state. But what's baked into that is the Christian version of all that, which apparently is superior. It goes back to the same thing over and over again. This is for me. Not for the rest of you guys. Who are you talking about? And think of the outrage and fear and probably weapons that end up in that school if they see one person put out one of those prayer mats and get to praying. Like Muslims.
He would call the Avengers, and there would be another battle of New York if somebody dare said a prayer that derived from Islam or even Judaism, really. Like, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, he said it for the sake of Christianity. Like, dude, we get it. He may claim that, like, he didn't say that specifically. Fine. He flew us there without specifically landing at that spot, but he got close enough for us to know where he was trying to go.
We know what's baked in.
We know what's baked in. That's what's baked in.